Liz Cheney could be in some trouble. Republican Barry Loudermilk of Georgia released a report by the House Subcommittee on Oversight on Tuesday. It recommends the FBI criminally investigate Liz Cheney. The report alleges that Cheney broke several laws, including engaging in witness tampering during her time on the January 6th investigative committee.
The subcommittee claims Cheney interfered with Cassidy Hutchinson's relationship with her lawyer, Stefan Passantino. The committee is pointing to signal messages that it released in October that show Hutchinson and Cheney in contact with each other. The subcommittee is arguing that Cheney communicating behind Passantino's back with Hutchinson constitutes witness tampering.
Passantino was accused of coaching Hutchinson into saying that she remembered little of what happened on January 6th, and that maybe she'd get a job in Trump world as a result. Hutchinson ultimately got rid of Passantino. Now, when Hutchinson reached out to Cheney, she wrote, quote, "Hi, this is Cassidy Hutchinson. I'm sorry for reaching out this way, but I was hoping to have a private conversation with you soon, if you're willing," end quote. Cheney responded by writing, quote, "I would be happy to."
Cheney spoke out on Blue Sky about Republican calls for her prosecution. She defended the January the 6th committee's work and blasted President Trump for his behavior on January the 6th. She continued by writing in part, "Chairman Loudermilk's interim report intentionally disregards the truth and the Select Committee's tremendous weight of evidence, and instead fabricates lies and defamatory allegations in an attempt to cover up what Donald Trump did."
Republicans took to X to share their support. Congressman Jim Banks of Indiana wrote, "Liz Cheney abused her power and should be held accountable." Laura Trump told conservative podcaster Benny Johnson that people who break the law do deserve jail time. Here she is.
Everything that has happened with this January 6th nonsense, anyone who did anything illegal ought to be held accountable. And I'm not a legal expert or a legal scholar, but I do know that when you break the law, that means you go to jail and you serve time.
Bernie Sanders on NBC News' Meet the Press Sunday said that Biden might want to consider pardoning January the 6th committee members preemptively.
In light of what the president-elect said to me, that yes, he does think that members of the January 6th committee should go to jail, do you think that Mr. Biden should issue preemptive pardons for the entire January 6th committee?
Well, I think he might want to consider that very seriously. Look, that is an outrageous statement. This is what authoritarianism is all about. It's what dictatorship is all about. You do not arrest elected officials who disagree with you, who undertake an investigation.
President-elect Donald Trump also piled on Truth Social. He referenced Newsmax's Greg Kelly, who claimed Cheney could be in a lot of trouble because she likely broke numerous federal laws. Look, I don't, as with the January 6th hearings themselves, I didn't know that endlessly relitigating this day is the most fantastic or important or necessary thing to do. I would similarly think relitigating how it was relitigated is also not the most important item on Republicans' agenda. We should be forward-thinking and looking to solve the problems that the American people elected Donald Trump to solve. You know, Liz Cheney has lost in every sense politically. Her faction could not be more out of favor with the Republicans. In fact, her faction is now part of the Democratic Party, if anywhere. So that's all fine. But look, I cannot judge at all from my position, not having looked at it closely enough or not having expertise here. I cannot at all judge whether she has done something that is criminally wrong. It certainly is not outside the realm of total possibility that she interacted with some witness in some way that is legally problematic. Could not concede that? If she did in fact break that law, it's not sacred that she not be investigated for. Now, I don't think she should be unfairly investigated. I have no idea, no way to tell. But it's not impossible that there's a grounds to investigate something there.
Yeah, I'll come to that in a second. But first of all, I really can't let Lara Trump go unanswered, making the argument, which, I mean, I believe in the argument in principle that everyone should be accountable for their actions. It's, does she believe that about her father-in-law? Right. There's no evidence at all that she believes that. In his case, there were 4 criminal cases against him. The one that went to trial in which he was convicted, his team are trying to undo in various ways. So I find it honestly laughable that she tries to cloak herself in this idea that everybody should be accountable for their deeds when that is not reflected in her other beliefs about her own father-in-law. Now, in relation to Liz Cheney, yes, I mean, I agree that it is not sacred that Liz Cheney should never, ever be. I have no great love for Liz Cheney. I don't think that the case that the Republicans are making here is very strong. The argument...
You mean that the Democrats are making?
No, the Republicans are making against Liz Cheney.
For prosecution.
Yeah,
sure.
The argument that Republicans are making that she was involved in witness tampering, I don't find strong, because I read the report this morning and the relevant sections are about the idea that Cassidy Hutchinson reached out to Cheney. Cheney at one point did say, well, I'm not sure if I can ethically talk to you because you have a lawyer. That lawyer at that time was a person who was getting his legal fees paid by now President-elect Trump's Political Action Committee, so he was essentially a Trump lawyer. And Cheney or Cheney's staff eventually sent Cassidy Hutchinson a list of potential lawyers who she could consult with if she wanted. I think it's a very big stretch to say that that rises to the level of witness tampering, a charge that is typically made more whenever people are coaching witnesses or suggesting that witnesses should say things that are untrue. So I don't find it a very strong charge. I have no great love for Liz Cheney, but I do disagree with you in terms of the January the 6th committee. I think that day was easily the bleakest day that I have seen in covering American politics, and I think its aberrational nature does merit proper investigation.
I mean, I don't want to ever be on the record as trying to downplay it being bad. I was there. I covered it in person. I lived near the Capitol. I went down. I watched it happen. I watched them smash windows and go in, etc. I got tear gassed in the face because there's no way to duck out of the path of an incoming tear gas cloud. It was. I've described it as an embarrassing spectacle. Now, do I think in the scheme of all of the violence and looting and property destruction I witnessed in Washington D.C. over the course of the pandemic and the Black Lives Matter stuff and all of that, do I think it was like so shocking to the conscience necessarily? No, not quite.
But it was about trying to overturn an election. Surely that makes a difference, does it not? I mean, it would undo a bedrock of American democracy.
I don't agree that they had a coherent plan to actually overturn the election.
Well, that was the aim.
The legal stuff
going on. The aim was to keep Donald Trump in power. Would you agree with that?
I think the aim was to smash some windows and parade around and wreck the Capitol.
For the fun of it?
They succeeded at doing. No, because they were angry and they thought, and Donald Trump had contributed to them thinking they won the election. But I think it's a stretch to say this was like an attack on America, and we were this close to having political leaders taken hostage, and that was going to be the end of.
I don't think it's a stretch at all. It was an attempt by a mob to thwart the legitimate outcome of an election.
I think it was a angry. I mean, 99% of the people there engaged in First Amendment protected activity that you can disagree with their cause. I don't agree with their cause, but didn't do anything wrong. A small number of people smashed the windows, walked in, fought with police. They've all been charged, as they should be. I was fine with that. To me, I think it's been exaggerated how much of a threat to our entire way of government it was. It's been described by. You think it's on the level of Pearl Harbor?
No, Robby, I don't think it's on the level of Pearl Harbor, but I think a democracy or republic rests upon the acceptance of legitimate election results. And if you cede that right to the people who can create the most trouble, then you cease to have a democracy.
But then I run into the problem that accepting the election result, I mean, Hillary Clinton and John Kerry and everybody have always said, oh, it was unfair, Russia made it illegitimate. I mean, the rhetoric around the 2016 election from mainstream liberal media pundits on it being illegitimate because of some Facebook ads on Russia was
not raise a rabble to invade the United States.
Not specifically in that time, but they raised a rabble to smash the windows of every building in this city when they were rioting over George Floyd or anything else. I watched them trash that church near Lafayette Square. I watched them do that. I mean, I find this sort of behavior gross, by the way, and I throw the book at all these people who did this. Property destruction is not at all acceptable to me. It's just it has been a mark of a small number of far right and far left people over the last several years probably due to some underlying frustrations in the pandemic.
But one was backed by a person who was then the sitting president of the United States.
Well, the Republicans, Trump people would say that he did not at all tell them to do that. He told them to peacefully protest, show strength, but peacefully protest. That they will say that he did not call on them to do this. Now, for my own opinion, I think that you can absolutely make the case that he failed to cool tensions, and he should have done that, and you can hold him morally responsible for what happened. I don't think he planned to cause this to happen, or is legally culpable for what happened.
I think there has been a Republican and conservative media-led effort to play down January the 6th in order to try to get Donald Trump off the hook upon which his own conduct and words put him.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate judge of his conduct here was the election, which he won. So
yes, and therefore thwarted his own trial on criminal charges.
All right. Well, good debate. Tell us what you think. Lots more to come today. Stay tuned. More Rising right after this.